Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter, and to my far right, we got KJ, Kevin Johnson, and today's special guest. Man, we got someone from Bishopville, South Carolina. She's McDonald's All-American, former UNC guard, former Indiana Fever, former Sacramento Monarchs, and Washington Mystics. She's from South Carolina, All-American. Latangela Atkinson. What's going on, Latangela?
What's going on? What's going on?
Nothing much, nothing much. Glad to have you on the show today. Glad to have you on the show. For the people that don't know you, let them know where you're from and a little bit about your background.
Okay, well, first off, I want to thank you guys for the invite. Much appreciated. My name is
Thank you.
Latangela Atkinson. I'm from a small town in South Carolina called Bishopville. You probably got about maybe two stoplights. So it's very, very small.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Your audio went out. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went to starting out Bishopville Primary School, elementary. Then went to Bishopville Middle. I played JV for one game, and then they saw my talent, and I didn't know I had talent at that time. And they said, "Hey, you need to move up to varsity." I said, "Okay, we'll give this a try," because I know it was some girls that were in the upper grade higher than me that could ball. So at first it was a
Okay.
little intimidation, but my mom always told me, "Hey, never be afraid, go after your dream." So
Right.
with that being
Exactly.
said, she put a full court basketball court in our backyard, and she had the city to come out to put a light pole. So she was like, that light pole will never go off after 7 o'clock. You got all night. The harder you work, the better you'll get. So when I got home from school, it was pretty much schoolwork, drop the book bag, get the ball, and I'm on the court. And I was playing against the fellas, my uncles, buddies from school, just trying to get better and get tougher. And then when it was time for them to go home for curfew, I stayed out and kind of did my own thing, got my shots up, did different dribbling drills. So from that, I ended up going to Bishopville High School for about 2 years, and they ended up merging to our school now, which is Lee Central High. And from there, from eighth grade, everything kind of just escalated for me. I started seeing scouts come in, and I'm like, man, who are they coming for? And all my teammates like, you. And I'm like, oh, no, not me. So that just kind of put me in the mindset of, okay, you got to grind harder. While people sleep, you need to be up grinding. And that's just what I did, and I kept doing it. And then when I got in high school, my coaches, they were on me tough, and my teammates was pushing me, family pushing me, and they were just like, yo, nobody never came from, Bishopville as far as going to the league.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, hey, I want to be, that first one. I want to set the example, for the younger ones up under me. And then
Hey,
pretty much
yes,
from
ma'am.
high school, I got, got full rides to different schools, top 10 schools, which, everybody know UConn. Everybody know Tennessee, Pat Summit,
Oh,
rest in peace to her.
yeah.
But
Rest
I
in
had a
peace.
lot of, top 10, top five schools. So my thing was I wanted to go to a school. First off, Michael Jordan was my role model. Like I look up to him. I look
Okay.
at, what I mean? So
Okay.
I wanted to follow in his footsteps. So when I heard North Carolina is coming to watch you play, I'm like, oh man, that's where I want to go. So I just kind of boxed everybody else out, and I chose North Carolina because I wanted to go somewhere where basketball for females wasn't really known.
Yeah.
So for me, I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to start or help the coach start, a basketball program there, along with my other teammates, which we all know, Ivory, Orlana, Camille Little,
Yeah.
all of those names that formerly play. So, with that being said, the path was awesome. I enjoyed the experience. And, my senior year, coach came to me and she said, hey, how do you feel about going to the league? Me, in high school, I was a scorer. When you go to college, you kind of, sometimes you got to step outside your box and do what you need to do to help the team win. So I became that defender and that rebounder. So to me, I was like, I don't think I'm going to get drafted. And she walked out. She had the team huddle up. We got in the middle. She walked out and gave me the draft letter for the WNBA. And I just was like, me? You sure they typed the right name? And she was like, yes, you. And she said, we going to the draft. And from there, it was just like, it's grind time. We got to get it. And
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So go ahead, KJ.
Yeah, so take us back though, man. So what age you started playing basketball? Okay.
So back in my neighborhood, we had like this dirt court that my uncles would play on with his buddies, and they would be like 30 plus, and they wouldn't let the kids play. So while they were taking their little break or whatever, I took the ball and I started dribbling. Everybody looking at me like, you see your niece? Why she can't play with us? And I'm like, they gonna let me play? So my uncle said, I'm gonna guard you. I was like, oh, I'm gonna cross him up. He old. So I started doing my thing. I go to drive in for a layup. This man smacked my ball and pushed me down on the ground. I was like, you can't play with me. It made me so mad. You know how you get mad? You get up, you just like you want to cry, but I was like, that's gonna show a sign of weakness. I can't do it. So I just huff and puff and I got the ball back. And I was like, let's do it again. And from that point on, I say I was about maybe 4, 5, something like that. And everywhere from that point on, it was kind of like I like the toughness. You know what I mean? I like playing ball. So started around about 4 or 5.
All right.
You started early. So who are some of the coaches besides your family members that helped develop you over the summers? Like did you go to a lot of camps and things of that nature?
Yeah, for real.
Oh yeah. My mom, she was very supportive. Any camp that I wanted to go to, she, single parent, she made it work. She was there for all of the camps, but we can go back to, JV, Tiffany McDuffie. She was on hand. She would come to the full court with me and back at my home after practice and, kind of still do drills with me. We can go back to high school coach, Mr. James Disley, wonderful coach. He taught me a lot of things that I didn't know as a player, and he kind of developed me as a player coach. So that gave me a lot of knowledge as well. And then we combined schools, and then we had Dorothy Fortune. She was my coach as well. And it just kind of went on and on. But outside of those, I give a shout out to Sylvia Hatchell, which was my college coach. Charlotte Smith, she was hands-on with me. Tracy Williams, Sylvia Crowley, like the list just goes on and on. Like once I committed to UNC, they embraced me and they made it a family environment. And it was just like, what do you want to work on? This is what I feel like I need to work. Like my weakness, I wrote it down. And they said, what's your strength? Wrote that down. Okay, let's throw that to the side. Let's work on your weakness. And it just kind of, developed me as a player. And then the thing that gets me with that university, they also taught you life. Like it wasn't just about basketball. It was about what are you going to do after basketball? And those coaches, like, even on the off season, would call and check on you. What are you doing? They'll pop up on Sundays at church, all the way in Bishopville. And I'm like, wow, like, this is family. You get what I'm saying? So, those coaches that I named, they pretty much, taught me a lot. And, I appreciate each and every one of them.
All right. Well, you guys make sure you subscribe. We got WNBA star Latangela Atkinson. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Hit the notification button. Also follow us on Spotify and Deezer. Go ahead, KJ.
Yeah. I know you said you played as a freshman on the varsity. So did you play right away? And how many points did you score a game?
To be completely honest with you, I really don't know how many points. It was just me and a friend of mine, Patrice Holmes. Everybody called us Mike, and Scotty. And it was kind of like, she had 30, I may had 30 or 29. Like, it wasn't, to me, it wasn't about the points. You get what I'm saying? It was about us, bonding as a team and us getting the wins. I
There you
hate to
go.
lose.
Yes.
So when we got together and I told my teammates, I said, yeah, I don't care about points. If I get it, I get it, but I care about that final score with us having a higher point.
That's good.
So I couldn't tell you how many points I scored, but yes, I did play right away. Like I told you guys in the beginning, it was nerve wracking, but I continued to go hard. And one thing about me, if you guard me and you tell me you're gonna stop me,
Ooh.
that's just it. It creates another animal, a beast inside of me. So I kind of use that to kind of push me out. And my teammates used to call me Tasmanian Devil on the court. So
Okay.
yeah, I
There
started right
you have
away.
it.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Uh,
so let's go ahead
yeah.
and talk about high school. Go ahead, KJ.
Yeah, well, yeah, I want to know what kind of players you was. Was you the type to drive to the hole, or you pull up on the three, or you know, what I mean,
Well, three wasn't really my game in high school. I was more of like, as you would say, a and one player because I used to watch and one
Okay.
all the time. So I would
Okay.
love to
Yeah.
try and cross you up and get to the rack, And back then I had bunnies. I'm a little older now,
O-
but back then I had
Okay.
bunnies. So it was all about slapping the glass and all that extra. So
Hey.
I was more of like a slasher, trying to throw dimes and try to make my teammates look good. So
yeah,
it wasn't really, what I mean, it wasn't really about three-pointing to me at the time because I like the physical contact. So I want to go in the paint. I want to see if I'm gonna knock you down and score, or you're gonna knock me down. And if you knock me down, I'm coming right back in there.
There we go. Yes,
that's it.
ma'am. All
Uh,
right. So you
right.
get to high school. Are you playing shooting guard or you playing point guard?
I was pretty much like the 2, 3, 4, 5-ish if they needed me, but
Okay.
mainly like the 2, 3. We had Patrice Holmes at the one, so we kind of would, it really didn't matter. It was you get the rebound, push it, let's go, and everybody knew,
There you go.
we had a strong 15. Like my whole high school career, maybe I think I've only lost like 3 or 4 games, and two was in the finals. One was like at a tournament, and two was at the tournament. So it was just more of winning for me, and I didn't care what position. Wherever you need for me to be for us to win, then
Okay,
that's what I'm gonna do. I kind of adapt to the situation.
good.
Cool. Did you guys participate in the Chick-fil-A Classic?
So back then, it wasn't really the Chick-fil-A for us. We went to the Myrtle
Okay.
Beach Classic, the Beach Ball Classic,
Okay,
and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you guys know of Raymond Felton. So it was the
Yeah.
same classic that they played in at the beach. So we pretty much did it every year. And the crazy thing about it, after I did it with high school. Coach Hatcher was like, "Oh, we playing at the Myrtle Beach class." I'm like, "Oh, we going home. It's time to show out." So it was just, the whole classic thing for us. It wasn't really the Chick-fil-A.
Okay. Cool.
yeah. Talk about being a McDonald's All-American. That experience.
Man,
I
man,
know
man, listen.
that
When
was
I
nice.
said that was a blessing, uh, well, I was in the first McDonald's All-American game, which speaks volume.
Yeah,
It was a blessing from God. Couldn't
yeah,
do anything without him. But that experience just taught me a lot. And again, it wasn't just about basketball. It was about, like, when we went there, we went to the Ronald McDonald House. We spent time with the kids. We
yeah.
did community service. We did a lot of things that kind of taught you the way of life. And for people that can't be where we are, it was good to go back and help them and kind of see the smile on their faces. So that meant more to me than the McDonald's All American game. But being that we had to play in the game, I met a lot of, A1 players, top notch players. You
Yeah.
learn things from them, you talk about it, and then they want to know what school you're going to. And just to be able to network and talk, and those friends that I spoke with, at McDonald's All American, I'm still friends with them now. I still follow them, the ones that are still playing. I give
Okay.
that support. So for me, it's about, building a relationship and friendships with, my friends from McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Cool, man. Did any of your teammates from McDonald's All-American go to UNC with you?
Nah, I was no, as far as the females, no, but the male side, we had three players. It
Yep.
was Raymond,
Raymond,
Sean May, and then Rashad McCants. So
McCants.
that was
Yep.
pretty cool. Yeah.
The 05 championship team. Yep.
Oh yeah.
So I was gonna say I know you had a lot of people, like you said earlier, that were recruiting you, like Connecticut, Tennessee, rest in peace, Pat Summit. Did you take those official visits there before you went to North Carolina?
So I took one visit, and the only reason I took that visit because of Pat Summit. And Tamika Catchings was one of my idols, and she was there at the time. So I took that visit, and I met all of the fine players there. They took me in as if I was their family. So when I went to that visit, I was kind of like, North Carolina, Tennessee, oh, man, this is going to be hard. And then you got your idol talking in your ear, like, so you coming to Tennessee? I'm like, and then I kind of looked at Pat, and she got on one of her coaches. I was like, oh, I think I'm going to go to North Carolina. I think I'm going to go to North Carolina because she was.
Yeah, Pat wasn't no joke, man.
Playing.
I heard she wasn't no joke.
Listen. So I don't know if y'all remember Michelle Snow. You remember how tall she was?
Yeah.
Pat would be looking up like, just talking. I'm like, this lady ain't scared of nobody. But nah, North Carolina was my home. So that's why I went to North Carolina. But yeah, I took that one visit. And after that, I kind of sealed the deal, verbally committed, and kind of just said, hey, Tar Heel is my home. Carolina, the real Carolina. We got the Gamecocks. I support them, but we the real Carolina.
Okay. Yeah.
And who recruited you though? To go? Who?
So Tracy Williams at the time was the recruiting coach, but it was kind of her and Coach Hatcher. Like every event, as far as like my games, tournaments, camps, I saw those two faithfully. And like I say, what really got me was them pulling up to my church and just I'm not even knowing they're there, and they're just sitting to the side, and I walk in, and you can hear people or seeing people kind of pouring. I look back, I start sweating, like, oh my gosh, like they really down for me, like they really want me to come and play for UNC. So, first thing, my mom and my grandmother, they taught me to put God first. So when I saw them coming in there, I'm like, they're about the same thing my family about. So it's more than right. I know they'll treat me, and I know I'm gonna learn from God's people. So, they really touched me by coming down.
Nice.
Good. So your first day of school at North Carolina, your dream comes true. You're there at UNC Chapel Hill, land of Michael Jordan. What's the first day of school like for you on campus, and who was the player that embraced you when you get in the locker room?
Well, the funny thing is, I graduated from high school, and I was one of those kids that didn't care for the summer. You get what I'm saying? So I ended up going to college early to, go to summer school just to kind of get the understanding of time management, just trying to adjust from high school to college because now I'm on my own time. I'm not on that ring of the bell, go to your next class. So I kind of went, for summer school, and she had camps. So all the players were there. So when I arrived, everybody was there clapping, welcoming me and my family. And I was looking like, okay, I think I'm getting to like this a little more. And then when it was time for like class, my teammates walked me to class. Okay, this is your first class. Your next class gonna be down there, but we're gonna meet back in the pit. We're gonna walk you to class. So they were actually showing me, where I needed to go because the campus is huge. So they were kind of showing me where I need to go. If I needed to get picked up, they were picking me up. They were just kind of, giving me the breakdown of what I need to do and how I need to do it. And, it was pretty cool. And I, with them helping me, college was a breeze. Like I kind of went through so fast. I'm like, man, let me do them 4 years over. But it was cool. It
They
was
roll
cool.
out the blue carpet treatment for you real good, right?
They did that. Yes, they did. They did that.
You were
Yeah.
the only player from South Carolina to go to UNC that year, correct? And the only player
Yes,
on the McDonald's All American from our state, right?
yes, sir. Yeah, that I
Yeah,
can recall. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
yeah. And you guys played in New York City. Talk
Oh
about
yeah.
that. New York City,
Well,
the
you know,
Garden.
a lot of people, talk about Garden. They talk about how loud it is, how crazy. And for
Mm.
me, the louder the gym, the harder I'm gonna go. You get what I'm saying? Because I feel like they cheering for me. They ain't cheering for nobody else. It's cheering for me. So when I got on the court, first off, goosebumps everywhere. Because I'm standing on one of the best, I'm standing in one of the best arenas in the world. And I'm just like, me, little old kid from Bishopville, wow, I get to see this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's just like all of this is free. Take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So after I got to chill out my body for a little minute, I probably messed up the first couple minutes because I was nervous. But after that, it was kind of like, hey, you got to get used to it.
Yes.
If you want to go to the WNBA, you want to go to the next level, this is where it starts. You're gonna have big crowds. North Carolina versus Duke, one of the biggest rivals.
That's what I
So
want
how
to talk
can I not have tough skin? So I had to.
Exactly.
I had to. Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button. Sports Shop 27 has South Carolina legend Latangela Atkinson,
Oh
guard
yeah.
from UNC Charlotte, former Indiana Fever and Sacramento Monarch. So I was going to ask, go ahead, KJ.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, did you get an opportunity to meet Michael Jordan and some other players that was there that was great too? Did you get to meet anybody, like that?
Most definitely. During the summer, I stayed to help out with the camps and, with the incoming freshmen. So we would go to our gym called Carmichael, where it all started for Michael Jordan. And he would come in, it's connected to Woolen Gym. So he would come in and play pickup with us like, he was a nobody. Everybody kind of like, that's Mike. That's Mike. Like, we about to play. So me and my teammates in there just playing, and he walked in and we stopped the game, and I'm like, oh, you playing on this court? He was like, I got next. I was like, we got to win,
Ooh,
or we can
you
lose and he
got
can get on
to.
our team. So I was like, but I want to play against him. You get what I'm saying? One of the greatest, the
Yeah, test your
GOAT. I
skill.
want to play against him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
so he actually we ended up winning. He actually picked up like his son and some random guys that were in the gym, and we just pretty much played. And then after we played, we actually won that game, Mike. If you're watching, we actually won that game. And then you started seeing like Rasheed Wallace come in. You
Yeah.
started seeing Vince
Oh,
Carter come in, and then that's when I started
whoa.
backing up off the court like,
Them
wait,
high
like,
flyers. You know what I'm saying?
right. So
Above
I
the
was
rim.
like, maybe they got some other stuff going on. Let me back out. So I went to, me and my teammates, we had to go anyway because we had workouts. But
Oh,
we ended up, hanging out with them after the fact, going over to I forgot Sutton's is one of our famous restaurants in Chapel Hill on Franklin Street. We ended up going there to eat and we chopping it up, and they were just giving us stories and great advice on the next level, and just kind of handle the whole thing of being at UNC, the whole hype pretty much. So
Yep.
yeah.
that's good.
So I know you ended up putting on some more pounds when you got to UNC. I saw your shoulders get a little bigger as the years went by in the pictures. So talk
Yeah.
about your workout regimen. I see you was really ripped, playing at North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay. So our strength coach, man, was no joke. Like we had our football coach, our football strength training coach was
Oh,
our coach. So on the off
What?
season, we were doing football training
whoa,
on
whoa.
top of basketball cardio. So it was kind of like,
Ooh.
man, what? He would have us in the stadium stands,
Oh
and he
yeah.
would he would pair you up with a teammate that's about your size, and you would have to get on your back. They'll get on your back, and you going up these stairs, and then you run it back down, and then you get down to the bottom. You guys flip flop, and you do the same thing. Then you come back down and you do like so many sets of that. Then you think you're gonna get a water break, and he's like, no, we gotta do this. And I'm like, what? Then we get on the football field. I'm looking at my teammates like, we got a football scholarship or a basketball scholarship. Like, what do we have here? But on the off season, it was like pretty much 80 to 95% of our max and everything that we do. And then during the season, we kind of cut it in half, 45, 50, depending on, how spaced out our games were. But he was tough on us. Like, he didn't care that we were females because of the way we were playing. A lot of people said we had a males female team because we were strong and we had talent like, the male. So he was kind of like, I don't want to hear no excuses about, I'm a female, I can't lift all that. He was like, what you get a scholarship for? We here to get better, and this is the only way you can get better. And I'm looking at the teammates like, man, y'all need to be quiet because he's gonna give us more reps. And he was like, the next person talk. Yeah, he was like, the next person talk, we getting 10 more reps. I'm like, man, are you serious? Oh, he wasn't playing. And we were doing like a team exercise, if somebody ended up like stopping before his time, oh, let's start over. Oh, I got all night. I'm like, what? So as a captain, I'm like, okay, team, let's huddle up. I ain't trying to be here all night. We got to get up for 6 a.m. runs in the morning. Then from that straight to class, then back to workout, individual workouts. I'm like, we got a whole day planned. Yeah, so I'm like, let's get this together. So, after, we had the little huddle and I came together, our team came together. I'm like, what are we here for? And everyone said a championship. I said, well, we're not acting like we want to win. Like, this is where it starts.
That's
so, and then I kind of did like, me and my strength coach, we were kind of cool. So on my days off, I would still lift or do different exercises. So that's where this little 6-pack guns came in at, But that's how I got big pretty much.
It helped you on the court though, that toughness and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Man, listen.
Y'all had
like when I first,
too,
Oh yeah. When I first got in, I could not run through a screen. Like somebody screaming, I'm like, oh, whew. Got on that workout playing with him. I'm pushing the screen down, and the ref time I charge, I'm like, oh my God. And I look at coach like, you got me too strong. But he used to get a laugh out there because he like, that's toughness. Like, that's what we need. So when we start busting through screens, team would be afraid to come close to us. It was kind of like, do I want to set a screen on her? But they would leave that gap. And when they leave that gap, we shoot through that. Yeah.
So talk about the recovery that you used to do. What kind of treatment y'all used to take since you had so much vigorous workouts? And then after that, talk about the competition and some of the players in the ACC that you faced, and who was your rivals and things of that nature.
Or Duke.
Okay, well, the recovery, we pretty much had our own training room. We had like the cold tub, and for those that couldn't stand the cold tub, our trainer would have like the ice bags, and they would wrap them in the most important areas. And we kind of did that. And for some of the ones that couldn't really stand from working out so hard or whatever, then we had like the pool workout. So we would get in and do pool workouts. And I'm so much of a team player. I loved all my teammates and still do now. For the ones that I hated the cold tub, but for the ones that wanted to try, hey, I'm getting in there with them. Just trying to be there for them. I get the ice bags. I get in the pool, because as a senior, I was the captain, so it's kind of like I have to set the example. So I'm going to do whatever it takes for us to be able to win this championship. And that's what I did. And that was just a recovery for us. To the ACC, it was a tough conference, and still is. The triangle of UNC, you got NC State, you got Duke, then you got us. So, playing against, right. So playing, in that triangle, we all were rivals. But the names that you all know that's going to stand out to you is like Elena Beard, you got Monique
Yeah.
Curry.
Mhm.
So all of those players, matter of fact, the whole Duke team, I don't take nothing
Yep.
from them. When we're on the court, we enemies. You get what I'm saying? But off the
Yep.
court, I give them their credit because they work as hard as we work. You get what I'm saying? And I played with some of them in the league and played against some of them. And still to this day, I don't talk down on none of the players because I respect them. But if we happen to get on the court again, we're back to enemies, North Carolina versus Duke.
That's what's
But
up.
Yep.
yeah.
Go Tar Heels. Go ahead, KJ.
Talk about the
Oh, you see
ACC.
it. You see it. Go Tar Heels.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Talk about the ACC tournament. I know that was a big deal.
There you go. There you go.
So the ACC tournament, very tough because it's kind of like a one and done.
Yes,
And
it.
Yeah, it is.
during the whole season, we all talk trash. I'm gonna win the ACC tournament. Like I said, we were friends off the court, so we talked, we communicated, and it was just trash talking all the time. So it's kind of like, yeah, you may win or lose in the regular season, but when you get to the ACC tournament, you really gonna see, what I mean, who team's the best.
That's right.
So the ACC tournament was very tough. You got multiple fans there. You got everyone pretty much step up their game. It's different from the regular season because now you're trying to place yourself in a seed. So it gives you more of a, I guess, edge, and it makes you go a little harder than what you would during the regular season
Yeah.
because of the trash talking and what's being read in the papers and what you see on the interviews and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So the ACC tournament was lovely. It taught me a lot. I love the experience. I try and go back, just to kind of sit in the stands and just to get that feel of, oh man, I was here. You get what I'm saying? And just
Yep.
watching UNC play is kind of like, it kind of brings tears to your eyes, but at the same time, it's like joyful tears. Being proud
Yeah.
of, what happened and how women's basketball has grown.
That's right. Good
That's right.
job.
Yep. So, did y'all win any ACC tournaments during your tenure at
Yeah,
North Carolina?
we won two, and we didn't win a national championship, but we went to the Final Four, Elite Eight. So
That's
we
big.
kind of paved the way a little bit, but all of that was a blessing. Never
Yep.
thought I would seen half of the stuff that I saw. Um, just kind of proud of our team that we had, coaching staff, and of course the University of North Carolina. Like I would do anything for that school and for my teammates. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am today. My teammates taught me a lot. Some of the younger ones, you can learn from the younger ones. So it's kind of like, me teaching them, they teaching me. But back to the championship, yes, we won two. And I lost one of my rings, but I do have one. But yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So, talk about going into the draft. You was telling me earlier that you was in the huddle with your coach, and she gave you the letter. What do you remember? What game, or was that a practice when she did that?
It was towards the end of practice. We always huddle up and we say a prayer. We kind of just talk about practice, and then she ended up getting the letter, pulling it out, and was like, "Hey, we got something for you." And all my teammates looking like, "Who?" And she was like, Tangi. And she kind of read it, and all my teammates come grabbing and hugging me, and little tears started falling and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Joy, but
Hard
it
work
was
paid off.
right,
You,
right. And
you
that's
start thinking
exactly
about
what
that
I
light
told them.
pole. You start thinking about
Okay.
that court your mom put down for you and that light pole
Right,
when that letter
Yeah.
came in. I
right,
guarantee you
right,
did.
That's right.
right.
Yep.
But I just, once she, told me I was going to the draft, it was kind of like, okay. Um, she was like, your draft pick depends on us winning this championship. How far are we gonna go in this tournament? So I looked at my teammates and I said, this letter is not just for me. It's for us. Y'all helped me get here, so let's do it. And we ended up going to the Final Four. Ended up being the
Yep.
ninth
I
pick.
remember.
I'm not mad about that. It is
Right.
what it
Yeah.
is. Right.
Still,
Right.
still a lottery pick. You know what I mean?
Oh
Top
yeah.
10
Okay. Yeah.
from
Yeah.
from the
I'll take
crib.
that.
Yep. You know it. So you
Yep.
get to the draft. I know you're nervous. You know what I'm saying? You had to pick out your outfit, get your hat and everything, your jewelry, right? Talk about that experience getting called up to the podium and grabbing that jersey.
Nah.
Well, I remember my coach and my mom and I sitting at the table, and when they called my name, I was stunned. I kind of was dazed out, like, no, because I was thinking the whole time I was sitting there, this little girl from Bishopville, small town. How did
Oh,
you do it? How did you make it? And in my head, it was like I was crying in my head. So when they said my name, I heard it, but I didn't. And I saw my coach stood up and my mom stood up, and I was like, what is it? And I looked up and I saw my name up there. I was like, oh my, and my heart is just pounding. So I
yes.
hugged my mom, hugged my coach, and when I went up, I was so nervous. I didn't know what to do. I was just kind of in that moment of like, at this point, whatever happens, happens. All I'm thinking about now is, where's the gym? I really got to get it. Like, they picked me, little old me. So in my mind, going through the whole draft and just doing the interviews, after I got out the stage and all of that, it was just my mind went to let's go to work. Like, yes, let's do the pictures, interviews, but let's go to work. That's
The
all
work.
I'm worried about. So that was my experience. I could tell you more about it, but like I said, it's a blur because I was so focused on getting to work. And then I was going to the Fever with Tamika Catchings, who I wanted to play with a long time ago. It was kind of like, man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mhm.
it was an awesome experience, and that feeling was just, man, it makes me speechless every time I talk about it.
I
Mm.
mean, you were prepared for it. You played at UNC. You had a couple runs with Jordan on the pickup games. And
Yeah.
you got to the
Okay,
WNBA. You was more than ready by that time.
Ready.
right, right.
So talk about your first day practicing with Catchings and the atmosphere with the Fever. Talk about that a little bit and how she introduced herself to you and how y'all end up gelling as a teammates.
Yeah.
Well, when I arrived first, when I arrived in Indiana, Catch was there. So I was like, okay, I'm liking this. Number one player, in the WNBA, she comes to greet me and welcome me to Indiana. It was just, it was speechless. I hugged her. I thanked her, for everything she has taught me that she didn't know from me watching her. And then from that, it was just kind of, okay, let me kind of show you uh, the city. And we got in the car and drove over to the arena, walked through the locker room, just kind of showed me everything. And she
Yeah.
showed me where my uniforms and practice stuff was. And I'm thinking it's just a tour. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Next thing I
Yep.
know, she's like, okay, that's over with. Practice clothes right there, your shoes right there, let's get it. I'm looking at her like, huh? She said, you working out with me today.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
Let me get my mind right, right.
Let me get my
So we
mind
go,
right.
Yeah.
right. So we go to the weight room. First off, this is what I do before practice. I'm like, okay. So we did the workout. She was like, I'm impressed. Okay. So we get out there. She gets shots up before practice. So we out there, doing drills. So when practice started, coach came in and introduced me to the team and, hugged, laughed, we talked. And when practice started, I was the one had to guard Catch. And I was kind of
Ooh.
like, okay, yeah.
Let's go.
So, you know what? She's not an idol anymore. She's the enemy. Let's get it. So
Like
we
when
were
you
actually
basketball.
like we was going at it.
Yeah.
And she got the best of me a few times and they really made me play defense the whole time. They ain't give me a chance to play they ain't give me a chance to play offense. So it was just
You
like
see that
defense.
footwork.
So, she scored on me. I got a couple stops, this, that, and the third. And she did one move and she drove and she spun. And when she spun, her elbow hit me like this. I was like, I ain't no punk. So I was like, I let it hit me and I bounced right back up. And when I bounced up, I was able to get back into play and I stole the ball. And coach, bloop, That's what we need. Everybody hyping me up. Now I got goosebumps. And now I hear Catch like, let's do it again. I'm like, oh, man. So it was a tough first practice. It wasn't no, let's shoot around. Nah, let's break her in softly. It was like, no, it's time to go. So I appreciate the whole Indiana team for that. Like, they never backed down. They kept pushing me, and I loved it.
Nice. Yeah.
So in 2007, you got traded to Sacramento for a 2008 draft pick. And then I guess Sacramento had closed down or whatever after 2009 when they won the championship. Talk about that a little bit.
So this is a touchy subject for me. I was, I got traded from Indiana to Sacramento. And during the time that I got traded, I kind of lost my grandfather. He was my number one fan. He, everywhere my mom went and supported, him and my grandmother was there. He would sometimes surprise me. Like, once he found out my location, he would never call. He didn't like cell phones. He would just pull up whether I was there or not. He would pull up, and if I'm not in the city, he'll get a hotel room, and then he'll look online, talk to somebody, and say, hey, where's the game? And they'll tell him the game, and he's in the stands. And I'm looking like, what are you doing here? But I ended up losing him. So when I got to Sacramento, I was kind of like, I'm doing it for him. And that whole experience out there was totally different because I felt like I had him. Well, I knew I had him on my back. He was my angel. He kind of guarded me through the process of, depression, just feeling lonely and, just different things like that. So I kind of dealt with a lot, but I knew, praying to God and talking to him, it just kind of pushed me through and just kind of helped my process. But, with the Sacramento team, I enjoyed my teammates. Yolanda Griffith, she was an awesome teammate. As soon as I came in, she was like, you're my little sister. Tisha Penichero, she was an awesome teammate. Carol Lawson, I mean, the list go on and on. Rebecca Brunson, like, it was just a family atmosphere, and it reminded me so much of UNC. And everybody was about making each other better. It wasn't about the individual. So that was pretty cool for me. And then, like I say, I ended up leaving there, just kind of taking a break, kind of getting my mind right. And that's how I led to, the other team, Washington, Seattle, and all of that. But outside of that, I kind of left there and got my mind together for a few months and then went overseas. And as my friends would tell me, you brought the dog out you when you went overseas. So that kind of got me back in the mood to wanting to play ball and, get out of that depression state and say, okay, look, God didn't put you here. Like, he put his toughest soldiers through the toughest fights. Let's get through this. So when I got over that, I saw the light, and it was a vision that I had. And that's what I kind of worked hard. I worked hard towards that vision, and I succeeded.
All right, cool. Well, I got a clip right here. It's not too long with you with the Monarchs. We can go ahead and check it out real quick. Probably bring back some memories real quick.
Sacramento with the ball. Lawson from the left gives to Pekarska outside left, shoots it up and in. We say first preseason game of the year, and a steal by Sacramento. Pekarska has it and comes up on the dribble. Gives to Aquinicia, back to Atkinson from the left. Circles, left off the screen. Out front, Pekarska beyond the arc. A three is good. Easily, she can shoot the three. Ball left corner, Danica Lewis fires a jumper, no, and the rebound down to.
Yep. So that was a real short clip just showing you preseason with the Monarchs. You went off and played overseas. I hear them chant before the tip off. I watched a little bit of it. The clip was too long for me to upload, but just go ahead and talk about that experience if you can.
Can you say that one more time? My audio kind of went out.
Yeah, your camera went out too. There you go. Oh, went out again.
Hey, Hope. Give me one
Somebody's calling you.
second. Yeah, and I keep declining it, but it keeps coming back. So give me 1 second.
All right, no problem.
Sorry about that.
No, you good.
You know how you decline and then they keep calling. You're like, hey, if I declined you
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah, you're back now. You're
Okay.
back.
All righty.
Yep. Cool.
KJ
So
back
you
to
went
laughing
over.
at
Yeah,
me.
talk about overseas a little bit.
How
Say
was
that
that?
again?
You was talking about
hear you.
overseas.
Oh, yeah.
Playing overseas.
So that experience was nice. I got a call from my agent, and my first year, in the league, and he said, "Hey, I got some offers for you." And I said, "Offers? WNBA or what?" And he was like, "Overseas." I said, "Oh, okay." So he kind of presented the whole experience to me, and at first I was kind of nervous because I'm like, I'm gonna be away from my family for 7 months.
Long ways home.
I'm a homebody. My family always, like to come and travel and see me play. So it was kind of like, well, let me think. And he was like, well, let's think about these numbers. And he presented an amount to me, and I said, oh, when we leaving out? So when I got overseas, the team actually paid for me and my agent to come over to see the city. And that meant a lot to me. It kind of let me see everything, and we kind of went to the gym. We saw the equipment. He kind of ran down the contract, just kind of showing me everything. So that was pretty cool. But when I actually got over there, the competition over there is totally different. They're more physical. Over there, you're going to play 40 minutes or more, depending on, overtime and all of that. But, over here in the league, it's kind of like you got people to sub you out. Over there, it's kind of like, hey, we paying you to play. We got the people here to see you play, so you got to perform. So it was kind of like only break that I got was timeouts, or somebody got hurt, or foul line. Oh, let me get a breather. But the experience was nice. They took care of me over there. I had fans follow me to my apartment. I had fans, if I'm out eating with my teammates, like fans will just come and pull up a chair, like, and I'm looking at my teammates and they were like, get used to it. Like, we love American players and you're a different type of player. And I was like, different good or different bad? And they were like, different good. We want to keep you. So all of the teams that they were losing to in the past, we were beating them. So now the talk of the town is, our team. And for me, like I told you guys, I'm all about winning and I'm all about making my teammates better. So that experience over there was awesome. I met a lot of young players that I still talk to this day that then, got a scholarship to a D1 school here in the United States. And some of them went and played in the WNBA. So, just the fact that I saw that and see how well they're doing, it touches my heart because, I kind of had a hand on some of the things that, they did far as playing basketball. But the life over there is awesome. I thought about staying over there, but I didn't want to move. I have a large family. I didn't want to move my whole family over there. So it was kind of like, I just kind of do the off-season thing. But all my friends now are trying to get me to go back and play. And I'm telling them, I'm thinking about it. I still got the love of the game, but now it's more so of trying to spread it to the younger kids, trying to motivate, trying to just, lead them in the right direction.
So what's your advice? Go ahead, KJ.
I want to ask you, how was the food over there? What did you eat? Because you got to have a good appetite being on the court.
So I'm kind of picky when it comes to food. Like when I went over there, some of the stuff I saw, I was like, no, do you have chicken or pizza? I was pretty much eating like chicken, pizza, and then it was this one place that was around from my apartment they created pizza. So I just went and I made my own, pizza. So every time I walked in, I didn't have to say anything. They were just kind of like, so I was just pizza, chicken, rice, and we worked out like three times a day. So it was like, I can eat the rice. I'm gonna run it off. I'm gonna, lift weights. I'm gonna get this out of me. Much as we were playing and practicing, it was kind of like nothing. And back then, metabolism high, burning everything off. So it wasn't an issue then. But yeah, the food, I was picky. I was picky. Like it was just take me to the American Temple spots.
For real.
And if you take me somewhere else, take me somewhere that got chicken. I can eat chicken all day.
So let the people know what Latangela got going on now. I mean, I know we're running out of time. Don't want to keep you too long. Let's let people know what you got going on now, where they can follow you, and also give some shout outs to some of your former teammates and coaches before we head out.
That's right.
Okay, well, right now, I pretty much stepped out on faith, and I was always into semi trucks, 18-wheelers. I always wanted to learn how to drive it. It was just, how it was just something that I always wanted to do as a kid. You know how you ride beside the truck and you do this right here and you hear that horn, it's just like a little kid in the candy store. So I'm like, one day I want to be in that truck. So when the little kids blow the horn at me, I want to make them feel the way I felt. So after basketball, it was just like, okay, I know I can't play ball all my life. I want to continue to build a future for me and my family. And I have siblings, 17, her name is Tanae, and I have a brother, JJ, his name is Jacarius, and he's 21. So my whole thing was I don't have any kids. So to me, those are my kids. So it was like, as a big sister, what pavement are you, paving for these kids? If they need you or, I want them, if I was to leave, soon or whenever, I know they're taken care of. So my thing was, okay, let me go ahead and pave the future for them so they won't have to struggle or they won't have to, kind of deal with what other kids are dealing with. So I stepped out on faith and bought me an 18-wheeler a year ago, actually this month. And thanks to my partner, Kevin Major, he bought his truck before me, and he was just telling me about, the money you can make and how easy it was and, how to grow a business and, all of that stuff. So my whole thing was, okay, you know what, bro, I'm going to do it. And he kept saying, I'm going to help you do it. I'm going to find you a truck and you're going to buy it. So it was just like, I felt like he was my salesman. Like, you know how the salesman be pushy?
Yeah.
I kind of felt like he was my salesman. So I said, you know what? Right. So I was like, you know what? Let me just step out on faith. Like I told you guys, at the beginning of the show, I put God first. I prayed about it. And I prayed for him to kind of show me signs. If this is something that you want me to do, is this the career path that you want me to take? Present it to me. Show it to me. And I kid you not, after that prayer, probably about 15 minutes later, I got a phone call from a finance company. And they said, you approved for a semi truck. And I looked up and I started crying. And it was just like, I couldn't believe it. So now I'm like, okay, now it's time to take that step. And if I let me rewind a little bit, I actually taught myself to get my own CDL. So I worked at a company called Pepsi. Everyone know Pepsi. So I kind of had a training class there where I had, I'm about to say players, where I had drivers and employees coming from different locations to our location. And, I was pretty much training them from never driven a truck before to actually, getting their CDL. So, and I did that for myself as well. Like I trained myself. I would go to work early and leave late, just kind of learning the whole parts and, everything you need to learn for the CDL. So when I got that, that was a blessing to me. I'm going to hold on to it because without my CDL, my business won't run. So as of right now, I drive trucks. I pull containers from the port down in Charleston, and I'm really loving it. Now I have a lot of free time, spending time with my wife, my family, my friends. When you're working at 9 to 5, or sometimes you have to work overtime, you don't get that freedom, that you would like to have. And when I was in the league, kind of like, practice, you got free time. So I missed that because that was my time to spend time with my family. So, I decided to do the trucking thing. I got my own business. It's Atkinson Trucking. And I've been successful, with the help of God, because without him, none of this is possible. So I thank him every day. And like I say, it's been really going good for me. And, just trying to get my little brother, my little sister, trying to make them get CDLs too, so we can kind of, keep building. Yeah, I keep them in the truck with me, just kind of letting them, ride with me and kind of explaining, as I go, to things you need to look out for trucking. Because I said, hey, one of these days I'm going to get out the seat, and I want you guys to be able to take over. And I kind of oversee you guys. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on the show, man. We're running out of time. My battery's getting low.
Right.
I hate to say that, but let everybody know where they can follow you. If they're looking for a job, let them know you hiring. And also, give a couple shout outs to some of your teammates before we head out, and coaches, and we just go ahead and wrap it up. I don't want it to cut off on us.
Okay, well, let me make it quick. I'm on Instagram. It's always _humble30. And I'm on Facebook, Tangy Atkinson. That's just pretty much the two I kind of get on.
Okay.
The shout outs, I just want to give a shout out to everyone that crossed my path with the game of basketball. Everyone who has, led me to God and just kind of helped me through to get where I am today. So I want to give a shout out to all of my coaches, all of my teammates, and now my new family, which is my trucker gang, Breakfast Club. You guys know who you are. Love you guys. Let's stay strong. Let's be safe. I appreciate you guys for the invite. I enjoyed myself. Good luck.
Hey, thank you for coming on, Latangela. We appreciate you coming on the show. You're more than welcome to come back anytime. Just come to the shop, drop your new info, whatever you got going on. We'd love to have you back. For those of you that watch this episode, make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Deezer. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook as well. You have watched another edition of the Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine Coulter. And to the far right, my co-host, KJ. And we'd like to thank today's special guest, former McDonald's All-American, former UNC women's basketball point guard, and also Indiana Fever and Sacramento Monarchs WNBA player, Latangela Atkinson. All right?
Thank you, guys.
Stay safe. Wear your mask. And it's not how you start, it's how you what, KJ?
You finish.
All right. Appreciate it. Y'all be good.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll hit you up after the show. And be safe.
Okay.
All right.
All right. You guys do the same.
You know what?